let's bring in Kate at this stage. A, because we don't see much of you.
Hello.
I'm never normally here on a Thursday. I don't even know why I'm here on a Thursday, other than it's obviously a historical day after the inauguration.
Well, we're saying goodbye to your old friend Donald Trump.
How are you?
Well, I've been sitting here wondering what you're going to talk to me about. First of all, I thought, is it to do with the inauguration? Because, of course, I was there for Good Morning Britain when Donald Trump came in covering it. Then we moved on to Susanna's cleavage, and I thought, heck, how am I going to get involved in this one?
How am I going to get a piece
and now
of
you're
the
abs.
breast action?
So let's see what you want to talk to me about.
Well, actually, other than it's lovely to see you, because we don't see you very often in person here, because we do different days.
I haven't seen you this year, have I?
Yeah, but...
Oh, well,
you do. I'm saying I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. But it's great to see you. But also, really big news overnight that you put on your social media, that you're doing a book about your horrendous year that you've had for you and your family. And I'm so glad, 'cause we talked about this early on through this terrible ordeal you've been going through, and I just thought, put it all in writing, because you were speaking to me, just who's never been through anything like what you're going through. Everything you were saying just felt it was so inspiring, because you were showing such strength and such determination and resilience. And there are so many people in this country. We now know over 100,000 people have died of coronavirus in this country alone, 400,000 in America. You know what it's like for people to go through terrible, terrible ordeal in this. But what prompted you actually to, in the end, say, I'm going to do a book?
Well, you did say that, actually. You said keep a diary, and in fact, I wish you'd recorded our conversation, Piers, because I'm struggling to remember a lot of what I said back then, because so much more has come since. But I think well, funny enough, it's been a strange time. I've been a bit low since Christmas, kind of physically low. I felt like I just sort of was slightly physically at the end of my tether, and sort of had to kind of regroup a bit. And then this week, a friend of mine's mother-in-law, who's 51, so younger than me, died from COVID. She got it at Christmas, and then it's going to make me feel emotional. And it just went down very quickly and died. And I just thought, I cannot believe that here we are, so far on. Derek still ravaged by the effects of COVID way back in March. His recovery incredibly uncertain. I'm trying to look for new things and new ways and talking to doctors about what can do for him. Meanwhile, you know, people are still dying in extraordinary numbers. People that aren't, you know, older, that haven't got underlying symptoms, and it is just unbearable. And people like you, Piers, and you, Susanna, all the time say, oh, you're just an inspiration to keep going.
You are an inspiration, Kate.
I don't know that I am.
But if
I can sort of tell my story and some of the people that have helped me, then maybe that will be helpful for people that will start their journey through it. You know what I mean?
What I think is so inspiring about you, Kate, is that we know the hell that you're going through, but you still turn up all the time. And I don't just mean turn up for work. I mean, you're just always you. You've always still got a smile.
Such a blessing.
You've still got, you know...
I mean, that can be a bit of a problem that you're always you, but you are always you.
Some people might be hoping for a great
to interact with you. You know, you still got your sense of humour. And I think a lot of people think, how can... You know, anyone going through hell would think, how can she maintain that? And I think that's one of the things I would like to know from you. Okay. When you're in the lowest, darkest place, how can you still keep, you know, gazing at the light?
Well, hopefully I will be able to drag some of those things. It's not completely written, the book, I've got to be honest. I've done about a third of it, and I'm still furiously writing it.
Is it like a last-minute essay?
Sorry?
You're going to leave it right to the deadline,
It's like my dissertation
like
at university, yeah, exactly. I'm struggling to get through it, but also because actually it's been really emotional writing it, because I've had to go right back to the beginning and work through. And I think one of the things that I remember... I hate to give Piers credit, it's so annoying. But one of the things that you said was about Joe Biden. Do you remember, Piers,
yes,
very early on, that, you know, you were saying, oh, I can't believe it. Why Derek? Because he hasn't got any obvious reasons why he could hit it so hard. And you recounted the story that Joe Biden said to you when you were commiserating with him over the loss of his son. And he said, oh, it's so unfair, loss of 2 children. And he said, it's not why me, why not me? And, of course, that is the truth. Why not me? Why not Derek?
You know,
when you look at the streams of people that have lost their lives, who've all got devastated people like me around them, and that's when it hits home about how much the pandemic you have to take seriously, because it could be anyone, you know.
You know, it's interesting, that Biden story, it's one of the reasons I choked up when I watched him yesterday. Because when I had... It took me back to that conversation I had with him, and it was a Hagar the Horrible cartoon strip. And I remember talking to you about this because one of the things people do, he explained this to me, is that they try and... He did, when his wife and baby daughter were killed in a car crash. Bearing in mind, it was just weeks before he was about to take up his place in the Senate as one of the youngest firebrand senators in American history. This was the greatest moment of his life, and then it became the worst moment of his life. And these two little boys survived the crash, Hunter and Beau, and then many years later, Beau died of brain cancer 6 years ago. But he was talking about his dad, actually, gave him this cartoon strip. Because he'd seen it in a shop.
I'm just going to make a note to rewrite that bit.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Kate. I'm going to send it to you because I've got that cartoon on my desk. Because what he said was, when you get hit by terrible things, and everyone does at some stage in life, it's just what life's like. Some worse than others, and you're going through a particularly harrowing thing. But what he said was, his dad just said, you can't rationalise it. There's no good saying, well, why has this happened to me? You know, and it had Hagar in the one thing, in a choppy ocean with his boat floundered, his trident up to the gods saying, why me? And then the other half with the gods shouting back, well, why not you? And he actually, Biden said he was quite sort of irritated at the time.
And I think...
He thought his dad was being a bit flippant with him. And then as time went on, here it is, he realised just how simple and powerful the cartoon was, and it's now on Biden's desk. And I haven't checked the pictures at the Oval Office, but I can bet you that will make an appearance because it's a constant reminder to him.
And it works in both ways because there are so many people that said he would never be president, and it works to inspire you with confidence. So
that's right.
What you said to me then, I then thought what was so powerful about taking that message on board is that you don't waste energy on the unfairness of the world and you pour it into trying to solve things. So, you know, I then started saying when they said the chances of Derek's survival was next to nothing and would probably die, but some people were surviving it. I thought, well, why not Derek survive then? And then I sort of took it and thought, well, why not Derek now be the one that bucks the trend of his damage and recovers? And so you can start to flip it to shift away the unfairness and try to take it as a positive and think, well, why not me be the one that comes through this? So I think it just helps take away that kind of grinding horror of unfairness in all situations, because there'll be people that be diagnosed with cancer this morning, all sorts of ghastly things, and you just think, why me? And I just think it helps a bit.
I totally agree. I think your book's going to have the same effect because, you know, when I watch Biden, he can empathise with all these families because they know what he's been through. I remember after the Sandy Hook massacre, the appalling shooting of all those kids in a school in America. And I remember how extraordinarily empathetic Biden was with those families, in the way he hugged them, in the way he talked to them, in the way he cried with them, because, of course, it was real. He'd been there. He'd lost a child, you know. And I think that you're going to have... You haven't lost Derek, and, you know, miracles are happening. We saw a BA pilot the other day coming out after God knows how long, hundreds and hundreds of days. So where there's hope, there's hope. But I think your story about how you deal with this is going to be really powerful for people and inspiring and influential in how they then go about their life, you know?
What's it called, Kate?
The Power of Hope. The Power of Hope, which I don't think I really understood what hope meant before this year. I used to use it very flippantly, where I'd say things like, oh, let's hope so, and it meant to kind of touch wood. But actually, hope is something very concrete and powerful, so hopefully I can share a bit of that.
Well, I will be ordering my pre-copy, even though I know you haven't written most of it. So there's a bit of hope.
Now,
I will be ordering it with hope in my heart that you do actually finish the damn thing. But I can't wait to read it, Kate.
That's the real power.
Best of luck with the writing. Can't wait to read it. I think all our viewers will look forward to reading it.
And love to all your family as well,
Thank you.
Kate. Yeah, and especially, of course, to Derek.